Buddy, my name's Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on tonight's show, I have a special guest who newly is in the record books for the Staples football program, the senior Nick Armentano. Nick, it's great to be able to have you on, man, and congratulations on being able to put your name in the record books for Staples football, which is one of the highest, I think, established programs, and not just Connecticut, but in the country for football.
I really appreciate that, Chris. Thank you for having me on. It's definitely like an honor. I mean, I've heard a lot about your podcast. You've done some other Staples players in the past, so I'm really excited to get on with it. So,
Staples has so much talent. I mean, I had your head coach, Coach Barron's, on right when the pandemic kind of really started to affect football. I also had AJ, who was a friend of yours, and now he's at Cornell doing fantastic things. When you're around that much talent, Nick, before we get into the other stuff, do you kind of feel like, you pinch yourself like, I'm around so much talent, like you may not be around this much talent ever again?
yeah, I really like it. One, because practices when you are talented like that, you are competitive just naturally. That's how it is. And our practices are always really competitive, and that helps me out. That helps the other players out, and because you want to be better than someone else, right? So you're gonna try to like work harder and then beat them in every rep that you can. So that is a benefit of playing with people who are talented. Like the cornerbacks we had this year, they were really solid. So it was definitely great to have them to like go up against. And it's also cool just to see like people I'm friends with and teammates with go on and be successful in college football because, like you said, they're talented. And it's just a good feeling. So
Now, take me into your journey, man, because before we get into the record break, the records that you are now in for Staples, obviously there's a path to get to that. Uh, how did the game of football find you?
my dad, he played football. And as a second grader in South Carolina, which is where I lived at the time, I I started playing tackle football just immediately. I just jumped right into tackle football in second grade. Played third, fourth. Then I moved to back to New York, and I stopped playing, or I stopped playing tackle for like a year, 2 years. Played flag. Don't know why. And then once I moved back to I played in sixth grade. Then once I moved back to, or once I moved to Westport, that's when like football became the most fun for me. And I found all my teammates that I had from seventh to senior year, and it's just been an amazing journey. I've made some of my best friends play on the team, and some people I'll just always want to be close friends with and stay in contact with. And I wouldn't trade any of it at all. It's been an amazing experience. Staples and the town of Westport has really made football fun for me. So
The amount of moving that you did, man, I mean, it sounds
yeah.
like it was at a young age. Was it difficult for you? Because, at a young age, first, you're very impressionable, but also, two, you're trying to establish yourself as not just as a young person, but also someone who's trying to find himself at a young age. Was it hard for you kind of going from state to state?
Um, the hardest move was probably going to South Carolina, and then my first year living there, just jumping right into football and seeing kids I've never even met. And then football is pretty good down there, so it was pretty competitive, and I was a bit intimidated. And I really started liking it, loved, and then moving back to New York was also hard, just a hard time with like parent stuff and like personal stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but I've always been pretty outgoing, which helps with like meeting friends and getting like finding myself in a new place. And I did that well in New York, and then when I moved to Westport, and I mean everyone was so like welcoming and uh, very good people, so that made it definitely easier. So
Do you
it
think
was yeah.
Do you think though too it kind of like matured you as well, maybe a little bit quicker than some kids your age because you had to, not that you
I had
had to, but you kind of had to in some ways, like you said, you're very outgoing, you're not shy, right?
Yeah, I definitely built that part of myself through that because I I didn't want to be I wanted to be outgoing, which also then it developed to me just being outgoing. So I didn't want to be the shy kid. I wanted it right when I moved to be like then like to have a good like a good first impression, and you're not gonna get that if you're just shy. And so that definitely matured me as well, and it made me build some skills of just meeting new people, and then so it's pretty good. I'm happy with how my childhood kind of went. So
Now, as you were growing up in the game of football, were you playing a lot of positions, a couple positions? Where were you on the field?
uh, when I was in New York and South Carolina, I played quarterback. I that was just my thing. And then I moved here. My best friend Ryan Thompson was the quarterback at the time. He's been my quarterback 7th through 12th. He's great, definitely awesome. And then that's when I moved to running back. I played running back through like middle school, and then I wasn't too tall, so and like too big, so I moved to receiver, and then I fell in love with playing receiver, and throughout all of high school I played pretty much receiver, and then this year I played a little bit of DB just in man, but it's mostly just I've been an offensive player and special.
Before you got to Staples, man, did you know the history of Staples?
Well, I moved as a 7th grader, and I had no clue. I didn't even know Staples was a thing when I moved. Like I moved to this Bedford Middle School, which is the school in Westport, and I had no like knowledge of anything, and it was cool because I learned from like people in my grade, and like I look up to like these like captains at the time when I was a 7th grader. Like I can't even remember some of the names, but it was just cool to see how like those players are like kind of celebrities when you're like that young of an age, and it's cool to like now be in that kind of position. But I really didn't know much, so it's cool now that I've learned just so much of history. I have coaches who tell me like about the history. They were on teams that they were on some 2012 team, and like years that years those years, and just to see where that the program was at that time with Coach P, it's cool to like have those perspectives. So
One big thing too, when I think about a player who, like you said, you really didn't know the history at first. And, when I think of people who go to different countries, the culture shock, kind of really having to adjust. Your freshman year, was there any sort of like, not culture shock per se, but kind of like a shock to the system? Like you said, when you were down south, first time being around, like you said, football, as we all know, it's the Bible and football, and sometimes it's football and then the Bible. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And Staples, you could probably make the same case. Football is God there. Uh,
yeah.
what can was freshman year a struggle for you, both on and off the field, because of all of that?
The thing with freshman year, we got a new coach for the first time in 30 years. We lose pretty much the whole coaching staff that year, or I think he was there for 30 years, something like that. So everyone was it was a new thing. There was new culture, new everything, new coach. So it was it was a little easier jumping into that because everyone had to experience the same thing, and I wasn't like us freshmen weren't like like surprised. Everyone was pretty accommodating. Like the seniors, the upperclassmen, they treated us very well. So that definitely made like it easier to just become freshmen. So
Now, did you play varsity your freshman year?
towards the end of the year, I ended up playing in a ward, and then I broke my finger, my thumb in that game, and then I ended up playing in the Thanksgiving Greenwich game, just a little bit, but I played a bit. But I was small. I was like 5'5", like 5'5", 5'6", and like 130.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was not easy to be freshman on varsity. And these
So
guys
after,
are like
yeah, they're
not
huge.
much bigger than me. So
So after your freshman year, I mean, did you have, was there any reflection that you had? Like you said, you were small, you were still growing. I'm sure, obviously, the game speed from varsity and and whatnot is obviously quicker. What
yeah.
kind of adjustments did you make, man?
Well, I definitely lifted a lot. I just wanted to put muscle and be like and like try to make up for my height with like some strength. And I like my speed has been like my biggest thing, which is obviously helps. and I worked a lot in the off season to become like a good route runner and a good receiver because I was all right as a freshman, and then I made some really like big steps my sophomore year as I started the whole year that year on varsity, even though we did go 2-8, but it was still great though. I was happy with the jump I made. I was like a good receiver my sophomore year, but my freshman year I was like, I mean, I would only go in like when we were either up by 30 or down by 30. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Now I know you mentioned the 2-8 season, and as we all know, the season as far as for the CIAC was lost your junior year because of COVID.
yeah,
But you were able to play a couple games in a private league. I think you said you went 3-1, right?
sir.
Okay, so but we'll stick to the CIAC just for a second. Um, with that lost season, and because you guys were 2-8, and knowing that when the season was basically like, okay, we're back on, you're going to play your senior year. For you and kind of like the team, did it almost feel like uh, it was a long 2 years? And what I mean by that is because you go 2-8 and you just want to get back out there the next season and just try to erase it and just try to make everyone forget about it. Well,
Yeah.
COVID hit, season's canceled, so now it's delayed another year. And
Hmm.
then now you have new players, you have all this protocols and all that. Just take me into that, man.
Um. So us seniors, we really wanted to like kind of change the reputation of Staples football because it was lost for a bit after that 2-8 year, and I know like a bunch of people like in other towns doubted us. Like they were like Staples is on a decline, but we wanted to really like change that and put the program like put it like back on like like bring it back to the top where it used to be. And we knew that it wasn't just talent. Like we had talent, but we knew that it wouldn't only just take talent. We knew we had to like build culture within ourselves, definitely, and like become close with the younger classmen. Have everyone trust that what's gonna trust the coaches, trust like the program, the culture, that we're gonna be successful.
Mhm.
And it kind of really started with little things, which our coaches really harp on. Like you can't. We would have a record time, which we call it. We being so if let's just say a lift started at 9, you had to be there at 8:45, or you're late. If you're there at 8:46, you're late. Like they wanted everyone to be on time at a specific time. You can't be on the line during the drills on certain things, and I think those little things help translate in the game. And once everyone started to really like listen to those little things, it definitely built a really special team, in my opinion.
It's the little things. I think a lot of people truly don't understand. I mean, you're a Patriots fan, so you would know. Belichick is a fantastic coach. I mean, the ring saved for herself. I mean, you could say without Brady, whatever. That's a whole nother debate. But it's the little things that he does that has made him the GOAT of, like, we think of Brady, at least I do, as the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. And I somewhat was, I remember Troy Aikman because I was a kid. So I kind of remember it. But the point is, Belichick does the small things so well. I mean, prime example against the Bills. It's 35, 40 mile per hour winds. Neither quarterback could really throw. I mean, Mac Jones barely threw the football, but that's the point. He, I mean, except for the final couple plays, he threw, I think, twice. The
Yeah.
but the point is, though, he knew the Bills could not stop the run. So he would run the ball again and again and again and again and again over and over. And those are the little things that a lot of coaches would not do. But he saw something and he believed in that.
Yeah.
And he beat him.
He's the best of all time, no doubt. Our coaches like compared what he wants from us to like teams like the Patriots, Alabama. They have like they build such a strong culture, and it starts with little things in practice, in the weight room, in the classroom as well. Like we have our grade reports, and if you are behind in a class, like if you have a D or an F, you cannot practice. You need to get that up before you can, or before you can practice and play. Um, and they what really makes it special is like how much they care. They're always texting us saying, do you need like they check our grades. Do you need help in this? We can help you. Like they really care about each player, which also really just makes it easier for us. And yeah,
I like the Bama comparison. Even though they lost to Georgia, I thought this was
I was
Georgia's
game.
year. I mean, this like you think about teams where if you don't do it this year, you're not doing it again. This was
Yeah,
Bama's youngest team. They were
yeah,
missing two of their best wide receivers,
mm,
and I found it funny that Saban when he congratulated Kirby Smart, he kind of smirked at him like, "All right, cool, you got me. I'll see you next year with my team, who's going to be even better." And I just think of Staples because even though the season, your sophomore year you went 2-8, I feel like if you guys were able to play in that COVID season, taking away COVID,
mhm.
I felt like things would have been projecting up, and I just can't picture Staples having losing seasons back to back. I don't think
Yeah.
that's ever happened in the program's history, to my
No,
knowledge.
no, definitely not. And we really that COVID year, we we took advantage of it as much as possible. We practiced every day. We practiced as if we were gonna have a full season. We didn't like we weren't like, oh, it might get canceled, so let's not go as hard. Never. We went as hard as possible. And those seniors that year, they were amazing leaders and amazing people. They were like, we just wanna help this program for next year because we really knew we weren't gonna have a playoffs, a whole season, and all that. So they wanted to win as many games as we can, put the program on the map, back on the map, and then spark for the next year. And they really did. They were great and they helped a lot. And we all congratulate them and they're great. So
And you speak about the seniors, and you're one of them, and what you were able to do on and off the field, man, says a lot about who you are as a player, your character, and all of that. And I think another thing too, and I don't know if anybody's mentioned this, but what you were able to do for Staples and to be a part of the record books, and I want you to say what you did because I think you deserve to say it. Um, you missed a year and you still were able to put up those numbers. I mean, I don't know if anyone's mentioned that, but and you played a little bit. I think you said what your freshman year too. So even that's like, I
I
mean,
like
come on, that's cool.
it is cool. I'm very proud of myself. I've worked really hard for it. So and I'm obviously happy with myself. Obviously, there's some stuff I could have done better, other stuff like that. But I am very proud of myself. My parents are proud of me. I'm proud of my best friend as well, Ryan Thompson, who set a bunch of records as well. He's like now he's the top three, first, second, and third most passing yards in a single game in history. I think most passing yards in a season as well. So we did a lot of special things this year. Obviously, great coaching, and we didn't get as far as we wanted, but still, I'll look back on it and be like, I was really proud of the team, proud of myself, proud of my other coaches and everything. So
Do you remember the game, or can you take me into the game where the records were eclipsed and you were now a part of that? I mean, do you remember that by any means?
specific game, I really wasn't thinking about it.
Hmm.
I because I wasn't sure. Like I wasn't 100% sure the number, and my coaches really didn't want to worry about that until after the season.
Yeah,
They didn't want to put that in my head. Where now I'm just thinking about if I just want to get this
yeah.
break the record or whatever. I think I broke it in the ninth game against. I really don't know, but I didn't really think about it. And then my coaches kind of told me like a couple of days after the Greenwich game that I broke the record. So I knew for a bit, and I was happy, but I was still grieving about the Greenwich game. I'll never forget about it. I'll keep saying it, but yeah, don't have anything else to say about that.
Yeah, I could tell the Greenwich game is really kind of sticking with you, huh?
Yes, I don't know. It is what it is. I'll have to live with it. We all everyone has the stories like woulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's one of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, everybody's got those games. I mean, I didn't play in the game too much, but I remember, going back to when I played soccer at my former high school, which is now closed. we played against Lyman Memorial in the quarterfinals. We were so close to the semis and we lost by a couple goals. It was I think one of the best seasons ever at the high school for soccer. And it was just like, it's one, like you said, it's crazy because sometimes the best games you don't remember unless it's like a fantastic moment, but the losses eat
Always
at you so much more, you know?
100% agree.
Like you could win the Heisman, you could win a couple Super Bowls, you could win a couple college football playoffs. And I bet if I talk to you, if you even remember me 10 years down the road, you'll still tell me that Grinch game in 2020, 2021 still eats at me.
100%. And the reason I think it's more special is high school football. You grow up with these people, so it means a lot more. It's not obviously on a bigger scale than, let's just say, a national championship, Super Bowl, and obviously who wouldn't want to win any of those. But it's really meaningful just because you're doing it with the people you love and like the people you've known and like family. They're all family to me. So
Now, obviously, with your talents and what you've been able to do for Staples, I mean, I know I asked you before, you don't have to name the schools, but for people who may be wondering who are not familiar with you or the program, are you getting any looks as far as potential college football opportunities?
yeah, I am. That's been my goal for my whole ever since I started playing football. I want to play college football. I want to play Division 1 football. I've always had that dream. Always would love to just be able to do that. And I've talked to a good amount of schools. I've talked to some um, high Division 1 schools for preferred walk on, and I'm don't know where I'm going yet. Don't know what's gonna happen, but I trust that it'll be great with whatever I do. So
I think wherever you go, man, I think, you'll maximize the opportunity. I think you'll do what you have to do to get yourself on the field wherever you end up going. I mean, speaking of Alabama, they lost to a player who went through quite the journey. Was the
that's
fourth, yeah. I mean, Stenson he was a backup, transferred out, went JUCO, came back, was the third stringer. I think what his the previous season had to come in kind of like Brady with Michigan, and then even this season with JT Daniels, he was the second stringer, and he had to just again wait, buy his time, be ready, and then once he showed what he could do, he proved the coaches, like Kirby Smart said before the game, he proved everybody and especially me wrong.
I know that's it. They should make a movie on him. He's or an episode of something, but that's obviously a sick story and definitely motivational and inspirational as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to be able to prove my worth at wherever I go and work really hard and earn any spot I get. So yeah.
I mean, if they make a movie about Kurt Warner that came out on Christmas Day, they can make a movie about, that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. I gotta watch that by the way. His story is unreal. That's one of the coolest ones. He was working in a grocery store, I think, right?
Yes, he was, and I think he was playing arena football too for a while.
Well, and then just hopped in, became a
Yeah.
Super Bowl winner, right?
Went to the
Obviously.
Cardinals, and Bruce Arians caught him and was like, I think he just saw something in him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Those stories always get me. Definitely.
Hey,
There's other
who
players.
knows? You could be the next one. You never know.
I'd love to be able to have
Yeah,
that.
man. But hey, Nick, it was great to be able to have you on. Before I let you go, really quick, obviously, you're not going to be able to play for Staples anymore for football. But is there anything that you could say as far as uh, what did it mean for you to be a Staples football player? Anything like that?
Yeah, it really meant a lot. One, the history that there is, like the brotherhood that we created. It's so sad that I won't be able to play, but what really makes it special is that I care about the upcoming years. I care about next year. I'll care for as long as I live. And that's why this year I'm running routes a bunch with underclassmen. I'm working with them and other coaches. Like we go to the field a lot, even though it's freezing out right now. We still go. And it's I just want them to I want them to do what we didn't do
Hmm.
because that would mean a lot to me. One, because I love the program, and two, we try to put it in the best direction as possible as seniors, and it'd be great to just see the program be successful because I care and it means a lot. So definitely, uh, I love being a Staples football player. Would not trade it for anything. It's one of the a great experience overall. I'm very happy with it. So
Well, Nick, I wish you nothing but the best of luck as far as where you choose to go to school. Let me know where you go because I'd love to be able to,
sure.
be like, okay, I know where you're going. Now I could try to watch you on Saturday, afternoons or nights. But best of luck, man. Seriously.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for having me on. It was an honor. Really appreciate it. You have a great day.
You too, buddy. That'll wrap things
Thank-
up in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm out here to find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.